now we take on some sports stories from across the globe, and Aaron Akurijola is going to be leading that. Good morning, Aaron.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ayo. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you, Rufai. Let's get it started. Of course, there were talks about the UEFA Champions League and, more importantly, this new contraption and how it will play out. But we've been in football nirvana ever since it started, and yesterday was the crescendo of the group stages. Now let's begin to break it down. Starting off with some of the results that actually came in yesterday, and the likes of Manchester City coming from behind to beat Club Brugge on the day. It was a little bit nervy, but ultimately they got the result that was needed to get them into the playoffs. Aston Villa beating Celtic 4-2. Barcelona being held by Atalanta yesterday in Spain. 2-2 was how we actually ended. And Arsenal also coming from behind to beat FC Girona 2-1 on the day. Of course, Arsenal are in a good stir. Real Madrid beaten Brest 3-0 quite easily. Rodrigo with a double. And not forgetting Jude Bellingham actually adding his spice to it. Now, pressing it further, when we look at how things have actually played out, 8 teams have qualified out and out for the round of 16. But we need 16 teams to be able to play in the round of 16. So that means there will be a massive playoff. Some have actually qualified and they're in the knockout phase. So now this is where it gets tricky. For those that have qualified outright, they are in a good stead. But next month, we will have playoffs against several teams. Try to break down the playoff because it's a little bit dicey with the number of teams that are up for this particular competition. Pressing it further, if they can actually help us with that one, you can actually see the graph. It's still very, very disjointed. We're going to be having the draws happen tomorrow, so we'll find out who will be taking on who, but very likely we're seeing the likes of, we're going to be having a big week. There are talks that is either Manchester City or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich will be taking on Manchester City or Real Madrid. And Bayern Munich and Celtic will all be in the same pool. So likely one of the former champions will be knocked out in the playoffs and will not be getting into the round of 16 there. Pressing it even further, you can actually see on the other side, we have the likes of Benfica, PSG, Monaco and Brest all in the running for it. So you can actually see that it's still dicey. And Juventus, Feyenoord, PSV and Milan. So let's see how things play out, but we'll be finding out the opponents by tomorrow. Away from that, let's try to bring it, okay, this is the rest, but let's try to bring it home this time around. In the Nigeria Premier Football League, of course, it's still up and running, and not just up and running alone, but we're having exciting matches being played. Bayelsa United beating Sunshine Stars of Akure, El Kanemi defeating Rangers, Remo Stars, the gift that keeps giving. All right, the informed team right now beating Abia Warriors. If you press it further, you find out that at the moment, Remo are looking good for the money. If you'd ask me, at this point in time, you can see the healthy gap they actually have between them and Shooting Stars. 3SC, who are second, the Rivers United. So at the moment, the smart money is on Remo Stars. But away from that, now there were talks about Victor Boniface moving to Al Nassr. But that was completely rubbish because the fact was he was a placeholder. The man they wanted to go for was John Duran. John Duran, the Aston Villa man, has actually, according to reports, it's all been agreed and he will be the one moving. And they were hoping that if the John Duran deal falls through, then their backup was this man, talking about Victor Boniface. A lot of people were already licking their lips and saying that he was going to be earning 25 billion naira every year.
But they said he has done his medical yesterday.
That was a contingency plan, and that was nothing other than a ruse. So, as it stands right now, this is the man, John Duran, that will be going to Al Nassr to join Cristiano Ronaldo and the gang. And Victor Boniface will remain in Bayer Leverkusen as a footballer, at least for now, except something crazy happens. Tomorrow the deadline closes. Tomorrow is the deadline for this winter transfer. So there you go with it. Away from that, one man seemed not to be having a start, but some are saying that it is written in the stars. An ominous sign is there. Talking about Lewis Hamilton in his first test practice, crashing his Ferrari car. And they're saying that when he made his debut with McLaren, he crashed his car, won the title. When he made his debut with Mercedes, He crashed his car and won a title. And maybe it's written in the stars that this is how he goes about doing his own business. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
I will be happy also that that's title. Schumacher.
Let's see what happens. But he's 40.
Yes.
Age is not on his side. Well, quickly, let's actually tell you that.
Alonso too is over 40 and is still riding well.
Yeah, okay. But not competing. Not competing.
Oh, last season he did push some competition.
Yeah, at some point, but he faded away.
Yeah.
But quickly, away from that, let's actually talk about the fact that right now it's getting closer, and according to reports, it is getting tighter and it's getting fiercer. Of course, we know that the FIFA Council elections will be coming up in March, and one man has been given his letter to compete. They've given the all clear, the green light, talking about Major Melvin Pinnick. But according to reports, there are fierce competitions left, right, and center. But he's hopeful that he will be able to make it. Of course, this was a letter that was sent to him by CAF saying that he's been eligible to run for the office in the FIFA Council. So let's see how it actually goes. We're wishing him all the best. Of course, a lot of politicking is actually going on away from what we in Nigeria here can actually do. And I must tell you, Africa, they've seen the power that comes with that particular office, and a lot of people are eyeing that particular office. And finally, the young Yellow Greens did very, very well as they beat Ireland. And it's got a lot of people excited because these young ladies have beat two established nations when it comes to cricket. So New Zealand, Ireland, they finished third in that particular group. Nevertheless, because they beat Ireland by 6 runs, and everyone is excited that the future is with these girls. If they can be nurtured, if they can be harnessed, and if they can be put together to become a great team going forward.
I mean, that's very good stuff. At least I can breathe easy now as regards the Boniface case, because I felt if he had gone to Al Nassr, Boniface is pretty much just on the ascendance in his career. He's going to mark the very end. In fact,
a lot of people are making the case that money over career matters.
But see, everything is not about money. You also want to get seen.
True.
Till tomorrow, I keep talking about Oscar. Look at how Oscar and Ramirez finished it all.
Yeah.
They went to China. They paid them the money. The money was a lot. But what happened? I'm even more scared for Duran. He has 5 to 10 good seasons in him if he stays in Europe. But going to Al Nassr now, it's the beginning of the end. The Saudi league does not get that kind of visibility.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, you watch it in Saudi, it's a big deal in Saudi. The stadiums are packed to the rafters every Friday night when the leagues are played. But you don't get that level of visibility. So you have to be careful. So I'm excited for him. But like they say, yeah, it's money. He wants to settle himself and his family and all of that. As regards the Champions League, let's see how this round-robin format, gets played, because it's a very convoluted format.
Yes, it is.
And we can only wish Amaju Pinnick the best, at least so that we can have a face there. Because since Amos Adamu, we've not really had that big face or big voice for us out there.
True.
So.
All right. For Victor Boniface, I think, like you're absolutely right. The news yesterday was that he had passed his medicals. They had reached an agreement with his Bundesliga, with his club, signed a 60 million euro payout deal. They had also agreed on an annual salary of 15 million euros for him. I can't imagine how disappointed he must be. I mean, he's going to now remain in his club. Maybe that gives what we say about disappointed. Every disappointment is a blessing. Let's pray that this disappointment.
But this is I'm not happy with the Saudi club, because he's the second Nigerian that is being passed upon. Because the Victor, his own namesake, Victor Osimhen, had this particular issue. They wanted to get Ivan Toney, and they propped up Victor Osimhen as a placeholder, just in case.
Is there no way to protect themselves? Because if he didn't have the support of his club, for instance, he'd have been left clubless. If he didn't have the support of his club and the deal fell through, it would have been quite devastating for him.
That's the game. That's the game for you.
Because I just think that people need to protect themselves a bit better, especially these players. For him, yes, I understand what Rufai is saying about expertise, experience, but at this level, the boy wants to make money. 15 million euros, maybe after play. And then the opportunity to play with Cristiano Ronaldo as well might be a dream for some people.
Yes, it
and
is.
That is one of the things that Ronaldo crossing over to Al Nassr has done, just made it a bit more attractive for other players to come in as well.
Well, just some quick specific comments. Djokovic has pulled out of the Davis Cup for Serbia due to the left hamstring injury that he had. Sevilla has signed a 5-year transfer deal with Aqua Adams, and they titled it from Benue State to Sevilla. Many Nigerians are now saying, in fact, that club, now having 3 Nigerians, should be named Sevilla FC. As for Lewis Hamilton, well, he's doing pre-season testing, and then he crashed that Ferrari. Having driven a Mercedes for 12 years, you know, the thinking is that, well, this is not an abnormal thing. It will take him time to go through this process of immersion before the formal launch of the Formula One season on February 18 at the O2 Arena in England. As for the Champions League, where Man City just luckily escaped yesterday, it would have been a big embarrassment if they had lost that match. If they had been caught in the same fire that occurred at one of the gates to the stadium. But they will have to do a lot of improvement, because if they are meeting Real Madrid is in top form. Even if they survive that knockout phase, the knockout phase,
the playoffs.
this kickoff,
the playoffs.
Okay. They are still going to face either Atletico Madrid or another very deadly, and yet this is the same club that won the Champions League in 2023. So they need to do a lot. And then as for what the Yellow Greens, congratulations to them. Uday, they are, one of the ladies, they are got player of the match against Ireland. And they were able to beat Ireland. They were able to beat New Zealand. They have ended in the last 6 of the Super 6 series. That automatically qualifies them to be in the 2027 World Cup in Nepal and Bangladesh. Anyway, thank you very much.